Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com. Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Roca Pizzeria on Government Street in Mid-City. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Randy McKay is with us today. Scott Rabelais is with us today. Wes Reynolds is with us today. And today's a good day. Today's a good day for football fans. Today is a really, really good day for football. Because last night, the Southeastern Conference did the right thing. I made it official. I mean, we've done this a long time ago. Southeastern Conference did the right thing last night. And it's been a long time.
From an LSU perspective?
From a football perspective, they did the right thing. They righted in my opinion, a 75-year wrong with schedule imbalancing, and they got as close as you can to something that resembles being fair. Now, look, you got 16 teams in the Southeastern Conference, and you've got a wide range of resources in history, okay? Alabama is always going to be better than Vanderbilt. Georgia's always going to be better than Kentucky. I'm not saying they can't win a game or, even a handful of games, but you're never going to get
19 out of 20 years.
You're never going to get. It's not like the Colts and the Titans have the same salary cap. Okay, it's not. It's never going to be completely fair, and it's also never going to satisfy anybody. And did LSU catch a break with the permanents? Yeah, they caught a little bit of a break with the permanents, but with what you're asked to do with the other 6 games. I don't think that you can look at. I looked at every one of these schedules, okay, and I can't tell you any one of them that I looked at and went, "Oh man, that's easy." Okay, when you add in, you have to add in the other games. Okay, LSU gets Arkansas, Ole Miss, and A&M every year, but then fill it in with next year, Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, Auburn. Fill it in the following year with Georgia, Florida, Oklahoma. And I went through every one of these things. There's not one of them that I went, man, that's easy. That's a real break for them. There are some that are harder than others. And the league is taking as many steps as they can to keep it right by looking at this every 4 years instead of every 10 years. And I think that's right. Look, if Lane Kiffin is at Ole Miss for the next 10 years, okay, well, their record's going to look a whole hell of a lot different than if he leaves. Over the last,
we are locked solid on that one.
Over the last 5 years, they got a better record than Auburn. Okay,
right.
And that I don't think you can say that about any 5-year, stretch in our lifetime where Ole Miss was better for 5 consecutive years than Auburn was. So they're going to look at this on a recurring basis. This is as fair as you can get while maintaining as many of the rivalries, some of them that I think need to stay and some of them that I think are overblown. I've been through that a million times. But if you are a LSU season ticket holder and next year you get Clemson, Alabama, Texas, and Texas A&M coming into Tiger Stadium, and you get Mississippi State too, that's a pretty good slate. And the following year, if you get 5 SEC home games. They've never had that before in 27, 5 SEC home games. Well, now you're finally getting your full the full money's worth out of this thing. You're not being fed. This is one less runner win. This is more of a rotation. We're never going to go another, hey, when's the last time Georgia's been to Tiger Stadium or Tennessee's been to Tiger Stadium and you go, wow, it's been 12 years. You're not going to have to do that anymore. If there's a good player in the league that you want to see and he stays for 4 years, you're going to see him. Okay, you may not catch everybody because they go pro early, but you're going to see damn near the rest of them. I guess they transfer now, but you get what I'm saying. So this is good for football. This is good for the league. This is good for the football fans. This is good for the ticket holders. I understand that LSU Alabama is not going to be played every year, and yeah, that's a bummer because that was not my intention. That was never my big crux of my problem with it. My problem was that not that LSU played Alabama every year, but that Alabama went to Athens once a decade, and then went to Gainesville once a decade. That always sat wrong with me, and so that's fixed. So I'm happy.
Well, you're right on some, and you're completely wrong on another part. This is good for the diversity. I'm glad they did it. 6 non-permanents one year, and then the other 6 the next, instead of 2 back-to-back. Back to back the same home and away. Yeah. So, my son's a student at Alabama, so I'm trying to figure out if they're going to play him again. Yeah, they're going to play him one more time, and that's good. Mm-hmm. But this is as if all for 30 years because you got to play Florida as your permanent, and when Florida's been really good, and Alabama's playing Tennessee, and Tennessee had been down for so long. I mean, Florida beat them how many times in a row? This is as big of a layup as LSU can ask as far as their 3 permanents. I mean, a massive layup. Ole Miss is not going to be. When I was in school, Ole Miss was close to Tulane. That was the one where the guys on the team. I mean, I get my stats up this week against Ole Miss. Yeah. All right, and Ole Miss 100%. I agree with you. Lane Kiffin, he's the best thing they've had. His conference record is better. Not the random wins. His conference record is the best they've had since Johnny Vaught. I mean, that's so. Yes, when he leaves, and now you're going to have the special, and the daughter wants to keep him there, and he might stay for a little bit. We'll see. But Ole Miss is the second half on resources. Arkansas is near the bottom as far as their football program. Their athletic director singing the blues about that. And A&M Southwest Conference forever. Charlie, for our life, when we were in school to this day, what got the juices flowing, the 3 games that got the juices flowing, and you know it, the 3 teams.
The 3 teams that LSU got.
That you play in every year that got the juices flowing.
Alabama, Auburn, and Florida.
Yes, and they're off.
Yeah.
Okay, and now because LSU, the bad part of it, we don't have a real rivalry. Okay. Yeah. But that's a good thing because you don't have your rivalry turning you into the NCAA like Auburn and Alabama did with each other forever. But that's not great for your season ticket holders. I'm sorry. Your season ticket holders, that crowd gets a little bit more juice for Auburn, Florida, and Alabama than it does for Ole Miss, Texas, A&M, and Arkansas.
And those
not even the damn Golden Boot. Give me a freaking break, man.
I'm not telling you
the Golden Boot.
But those teams are still on the schedule.
I get that. Okay. I get that. And
I think this is a love letter for LSU.
I said that.
I really do.
The flip-flop or the other side, and you had to add a game to make it all symmetrical.
Yeah.
Okay? And it was time. This thing was the 3 permanents and the 6 rotating was in play for a long time. They were negotiating, for the thing. They tried to do the two, and I don't have a problem with it. Sankey, after a couple of years on autopilot, he's been really good. But no, I just there. It's kind of off and on. One year you get a really good home schedule. The next, I mean, Ole Miss is like your best team. Really? That's not juice. I mean, we have to sit.
In 07, you get in Oklahoma. You're getting Ole Miss right where they are right now. Okay, I get. We're in lockstep on Ole Miss. Now you're on the road against Florida and Georgia, but the next time you come back, you're going to get Florida and Georgia.
LSU is no coincidence that the odd years, 01, conference champion, 03, national champion, 07, national champion, 11, SEC champion. Okay, when you had Auburn and Florida at home,
right?
I mean, that
was a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, that's your favorite. We got those teams at home, and so you set up for it. So this is payback if you want, but this is as favorable for a high. I think Florida plays Georgia, and that's it. and they play like Kentucky and South Carolina, that's pretty favorable too.
Well, Tennessee getting Kentucky and Vandy is
LSU,
probably
LSU and Alabama has been, for 10, 15 years, has been the marquee, the best on-field series.
the most NFL guys. It took over Florida State and Miami.
But Miami and Florida State. No, LSU Florida was for about 5 years too.
It
was the best on-field series.
From probably
in the best conference
from
college football.
4 to 9.
Yes. And you don't have that.
No, not every year.
Now, Florida's got their own problems right now, but I got to believe that Florida will be back.
They got Kentucky and South Carolina in addition.
You've heard Jacob and talk about it. You know, I mean, because that was the best. That's a lot of pride there.
Because look, and I love those guys. Okay, I love working with Dixon. He feels the same way about it, and I get it. But they wouldn't have felt that way if they would have played Florida from 11 to 15, if their careers would have been at that time, okay? Because Florida wasn't as good from 11 to 15, okay?
Or how about before that when Spurrier owned us?
Wouldn't have been the same thing if they would have played from during the Zook 3 years. If their 3 years, their sophomore, junior, and senior seasons would have been during
Zook. It did happen. It was the best on-field series in college football for a stretch.
And they'll play them 2 out of every 4 years. We actually agree. You said you disagree vehemently with it. This is not exactly how I would have done it.
It's not fair because
I don't disagree with that. I told you I thought Arkansas should have been replaced with Alabama if you wanted to do this fair. Okay, but Alabama didn't want that, and we all know Alabama gets exactly what they want.
We know that Alabama was going to get Auburn and Tennessee.
I'll tell you that I think that everybody in the LSU athletic administration was surprised a little bit when these were the 3 opponents. I don't think that. I know that. I was like, really? Okay. Because they were expecting harder than this, to be frank. Well, okay, that's what you want to do. Go right ahead. And but does that make it fair? No.
Easy, more favorable doesn't mean your season ticket. You can't have both because that doesn't add up. Your season ticket holders get more the harder it is, Charlie. But no, you can't have both. You can't have both. I mean, give me Florida, Auburn, Alabama. Oh, damn, that's tougher.
It's only 1/3 of the schedule, though. The other 2/3 of the schedule are
Charlie, but with every year. Come on, Charlie. Okay, you want the harder teams for every year, or the easier teams for 50% of the time, or vice versa. Come on.
Okay. Look at LSU's home schedule this season. Okay, you got a bad Florida team.
Well, but this is a different format.
I know. So I'm trying to tell you that the season ticket holders are now getting more.
Because you add a game. I get that. That's obvious. Well, I get that. But
what about the year you're not adding a game?
With this format, your season ticket holders don't get as much as they could if you had Florida, Auburn, Alabama as your permanents. Well, it's obvious.
You got this year. You got Florida, South Carolina, Arkansas, and
no, you can't. You're comparing the new format to the old one. You can't do that. That's not fair. You got to compare what the new format could be, what it is, and what it could be.
It could be better. I'm not arguing that, but I'm going to compare the old format to the new one because that's
good for football. We know that because you had a game. Of course.
Yeah.
You're knocking out a runaway.
This is very good. Is it as good as it could have been?
But we knew that before this was even released.
Yeah. So now you can see it. Okay. Now you're seeing the other 6. I think when you just saw the 3. It was hard to picture. Like, well, man, you'll get to play Alabama. They'll get to play Florida.
You didn't need to look at the schedule to figure out this was way better for college football fans. You're gonna give me a conference game and not gonna rent a win? Of course. We've been complaining about the Red Wins for how long? And you maintain that commitment that you have to play at least one Power 4 non-conference opponent. No, we knew that when they said this. Now the details of it don't. This is cake. I mean, come on.
I don't dispute
is
it.
Is it payback? Is it payback? Call it what it is. Because LSU did get the short end on the permanents forever. Okay, in this payback, but this is ridiculously favorable.
This is what Alabama wanted. If the league had told LSU, you get A&M, Ole Miss, and Alabama, which was the original 3. LSU said, okay, they were not going to fight that. Alabama fought it. because they knew they had to play Auburn, and they're hell-bent on playing Tennessee. So they said, well, you want Alabama, you want Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU?
Of course.
I
get
Alabama,
that.
so.
So you're happy that Alabama has stroke in the league?
Today I am.
I need to say what it is. That's what I'm just trying to get out of you. That's all I'm trying to get out of you.
How many times am I going to say that this is favorable to LSU? It is.
No, you saying this is great for season ticket holders.
It is.
The season ticket holders who want a favorable pass to a better record. This is not good for the there's more value in these next two schedules than the last 10.
The
Arkansas ticket is not going to sell for as much as the Florida, Auburn, or Alabama ticket. It's not going to. The Ole Miss ticket is not going to sell as much as the Florida, Auburn, Alabama tickets.
No, they're not. But those teams were on the schedule anyway. Arkansas and Ole Miss have been on the schedule. Now you're adding to it. The season ticket holders, look at these next two schedules and compare them to the last 10. They're getting more. They're getting more.
You keep comparing it to the old.
Because we just changed. That's why. I mean, today is a better day than yesterday.
You knew that before today.
I did, but like you said, the devil's in the details. So now you can see this, and in my opinion, this is a lot better. And, yes, I concede that LSU's 3 permanent opponents, annual opponents if you prefer, are easy. Yes. The easiest pass that they could reasonably expect to get.
Boy, I'm just the tougher games produce the bigger secondary market prices.
Yes, I don't dispute that.
Yes,
I don't dispute that.
So that's the tougher games are better for the value for the season ticket holders.
Yes, and they're still on the schedule.
The toughest, the one that you can have my tickets to this game. You can have my tickets to this game. I'm not going. No, you can't have my tickets for Alabama.
Right. It's always been like that. It's always been like that. Arkansas and Ole Miss have always been on the schedule. A&M's been on the schedule since they got back.
Great night in Major League Baseball last night. It was a great night.
The Tigers collapse complete.
Oh, it was to help people in Cleveland. We'll talk about that in a second. We got to go to a break right now. Roca Pizzeria. Don't forget about their catering. Man, listen, for watch parties like this weekend, for tailgating, or for just office parties, events, things like that, receptions, whatever it is, sandwich trays, the heroes, the chicken cutlet tray, meatballs sandwiches, eggplant parmesan sandwiches, the house smoked wings are outstanding, the antipasto tray, salumi and cheese display, the hummus, salads, our Roca Caesar salad sensation or pasta chop salad, entrees, meatballs and spaghetti, whole smoked brisket. Now, we do need a 24-hour notice on the brisket, but everything else we can whip up in short time. Chicken parmesan, the rigatoni sorrentina, the ricotta filled pasta shells. Got the Roca and Coda. Sides, like the Brussels sprouts, mac and cheese. I had the mac and cheese for Thanksgiving. Really good stuff. Desserts as well. Roca Pizzeria Catering over here on Government Street in Mid-City.
Live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Or you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. It is brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting Louisiana farmers since the 1930s in Southwest Louisiana. Supreme Rice, also new Handycast film study up on YouTube right now.
Problem with Major League Baseball, it's 162 games. So, over the course of the season, how many single games really factor in? Very few. But in this last week of the season, with the expanded playoffs and the wild cards and things like that, Charlie, you had about 8 ballparks that were on fire last night. San Francisco is still in it. They'd fall behind 3-0, take a lead 8-3, and then lose 9-8 in San Francisco. Seattle, magic number is 3 to clinch the AL West. They needed 1 last night to clinch the postseason. They're down 3-1, bottom of the 8th, 2 outs, bases loaded. Naylor with a 2-out triple. That place goes bananas last night. Arizona down to the Shohei Ohtani was on fire last night. 4-0. He left the mound at that point. Dodgers bullpen, as usual, 4-0 in the 7th. Walk off. They win it 5-4. Arizona does. They go nuts. Mets down 6-1 to Wrigley. The total in the game was 7. The wind is howling in. The biggest comeback of the year for the Mets. They win at 8-7 in Wrigley. Yankees down to their last strike. 2 outs, 2 strikes. 9th inning, lefty-lefty matchup. He looks over a match. Wild pitch, base hit. See ya. Yankees are in the postseason. And no place was like Cleveland last night. 12.5 game lead just 3 weeks ago. They got the lead now because they own the tiebreaker. They're down 2-0 against Tariq Skubal. They don't get a 3-run 6th or 7th. They don't get a ball out the infield. I love Pedro Martinez in the TBS studio show because Skubal, it was a ball to the left side. He had to field it and kind of tried to go through his legs, tried to do deep snapper to first base for the out. Pedro, when asked about it, he goes, he tried to do the magic with the ball. I mean, I love Pedro. But it was, in the playoffs, those places jump, okay, because the finality of these games, because they count more, obviously. My old buddy Charlie Barbary, the Rooster, you said October is the best month. It's football season. It's playoff baseball. But you got these games. It was awesome, man, last night. You got how good is the college football schedule? We're, kind of hitting our stride, closing out the first quarter of the NFL schedule. And the golf people are saying, this is the biggest event in the history of golf? Maybe might be overhyped a little bit. But the point is, I think Max can vouch for this. It's a big one. It's a big one at Bethpage Black. And don't let the ticket prices for $1,000 or a high noon, a 10-ounce high noon for $16, kid you. They'll be sneaking in their airplane bottles a bit. They will be good. They will be obnoxious. You're not going to price out the obnoxious drunks in this one. I mean, Coach O is leading them cheers.
Wasn't that fun?
I mean, you got, and Charlie gets a gift from Greg Sankey with the schedule. I mean, it's good to be alive, Charlie.
It is. Yeah, that Tigers collapse. It reminds me of 2 pennant races, and back when baseball was everything. In '78, when the Yankees tracked down the Red Sox, and the other one I remember, which probably the last great pennant race before they went to the wild cards, was when the Braves tracked down the Giants in '93 when they traded for Fred McGriff, and they made up about 10 or 12 games in the last 2 months of the season. But this is even more dramatic than that. They were down 10.5 on September 1st. And caught them last night. Caught them in a little over 3 weeks.
Caught them, and now they have the tiebreaker, so they're in first. And they beat probable Cy Young winner back-to-back. Yeah. And he was ready. 99 and 100 consistently. Skubal. Now, the guy turns around to bunt. He hits him in the face.
David Fry from Northwestern State, yeah.
I mean, and Skubal, he got shook up. Now, they were already on their way to – hey, Quan from Oregon State, man, they can't. What's he do? Starts off with a bunt single, to try and get it going, and then and then another little chopper in the infield, little man. He goes. Roscoe's doing his little jig up in heaven right now. I mean, how excited is he? I mean, this is unbelievable. What year was it? Was Boston, New York?
78.
Because I was at the Dome for the Rams Saints game, and I remember they're showing updates. Oh, the Red Sox and the Yankees.
The one-game
the
playoff.
Scores.
Yeah.
No. This was on a Sunday.
Okay.
It might have been the last day of the regular season or a week to go in the regular season. No, I remember the one-day playoff at Fenway. Ron Guidry pitched. Gossage closed it out. Bucky freaking dead. Yes. No, I don't watch the whole thing. Louis Tiant pitched. But I was at the Saints game where it was not a big Major League Baseball market in there, but it was a big deal. People were watching.
Right.
Maybe because Guidry was pitching too,
a
little bit.
You remember the Yankees had kind of that was that when the Yankees were playing exhibition games in the Superdome? Were they doing that yet?
Around that, I know that they gave out, Guidry showed up for a Jazz game, and they gave out Louisiana Lightning posters.
Nice.
They wanted the Jazz. I mean, so he was known. There was some foul. And Billy Martin's agent was Judge Saper, Eddie Saper down in New York. So he was at. So there was some Yankee. They used to broadcast the Yankees games every game on WWIW. A big bad time. I want a 7th inning stretch trivia question. A dozen bagels, Charlie. So
free fries at the Jazz game and free bagels on trivia, man. It was something. Yeah, because I remember the Yankees came to the Superdome and played spring training games They did that
They
more
did-
than one year.
There was a little connection there.
Yeah.
Well, there's Yankee fans everywhere, but there was a little connection. But it's you got a good week, man. It's a really, even like Mississippi State might give Tennessee hell this week, huh?
They're 4-0.
Is the angle? Does that count for Aguilar? It's his first road start in SEC, but App State.
No,
he's a little bit more seasoned.
Yeah, he's an older
Okay.
guy. Like
All right.
we don't think of we didn't think of Trinidad Chambliss as coming in not having any experience, right?
Well, he hasn't had his first road start in a hostile environment.
No, but he's got
Aguilar has not started one. I mean,
these guys with a bunch of starts at a lower level. I mean, do with that what you will.
I try and tell my friends, they're like, cowbells are banned. They are officially banned, right?
Yeah. Well, they're allowed to tell them when to ring on the scoreboard. They follow that rule.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie, and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Big dog, you had Philadelphia on Sunday?
I sure did.
Great handicap, Randy.
Thank you.
Bet. Is that the worst or luckiest beat in NFL history?
Well, it's got to be right up there. That game there, and it was beneficial, and I can go back to the tuck rule game. I had a rare 2.5. The line was 3 all over the place during that tuck rule game, and I was able to get a 2.5 at another place with a very big bet on New England there, and got very fortunate to win that one as well. So.
How did you get less than 3? That was over 3 everywhere. Nobody covered with New England on that one, Randy. How did you get that, huh?
Well, there was one rare 2.5 at I remember at Gold Nugget here. I was actually in Laughlin, Nevada, back where I am now, and there was a 2.5 sitting there, and I went pretty big on it.
Charlie, what Hall of Fame receiver handled the snow that night as good as anybody? He was deep into his career, but he was having a really good.
Tim Brown?
Jerry Rice.
Okay.
Jerry Rice had a really, really good night. He was just handling it the best. Where were you on the Music City Miracle, the Bills-Titans playoff game that was decided on that play in the cover?
I remember I had, during that time, you're recalling that, I remember I had Titans futures pretty big that year, and I was able to hedge off in the Super Bowl on that. So, yeah, that was another fortunate one. So, yeah, there you go, another one that you're bringing up. That was a good memory. I can bring back probably my worst college beat, and it's showing all the time on Bad Beat segment, that Josh Rosen Hail Mary / fumble return the other way when you got an easy cover in hand there. And
against Stanford?
Goes the other way, yeah.
That's what this one reminded me. I've had some scoop and scores. I've had some pick sixes that all the team had to do was just not do it. There's countless. But a block, scoop, and score, there aren't many of those. It was the late 90s, maybe 97 or so. Jacksonville and Pittsburgh were on Monday Night Football, and Jacksonville block, scoop, and scored Pittsburgh's a game-winning field goal attempt on the last play of the game as well. But they were already covering in that game. So, who's it? There's Big Ben's. What's that?
I can tell you another one that I lost, and it probably cost me $250,000. I ended up getting 7th in the Westgate for $90,000, but I would have moved up a game. If you guys remember, Cleveland played Baltimore on a Monday Night Football game, and they were kicking a game-winning field goal to cover the spread. The spread went from 2.5 up to 6 because Baltimore had numerous injuries, and of course Baltimore blocked the kick and ran it back for a touchdown.
So that's the same thing. What year was that?
Oh, that's 2017, I believe that one was.
You know the one I had, Charlie, 2008. 2008. San Diego Chargers are playing at the Steelers. Steelers are laying about 5.5. They're winning by 2, 3, or 4. Palomalu, last play, intercepts and has this crazy run back into the end zone. It's a 3 o'clock game. They're getting ready to go to the network programming. They flash the score, and then like a half an hour later, you come back and
I do remember that one. Yeah, and a lot of people had cashed tickets in the interim at various spots, and they came back an hour later or something.
Randy, do you have that one? Did you have that? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember that one. I don't know which side I was on, but I remember that there's some books that paid both ways on that.
Oh well, I remember I was on Pittsburgh side. yes. So, and I guess that the craziest on Charlie was Robin Ventura's, with the total, with the home run against the Dodgers for the Mets, where he doesn't make it the walk-off, he doesn't make it home, so they don't give him all of the runs, and that affected the total in that game. So
yeah, and there was also a pitchy woo-woo with Washington and maybe Kansas City on a Monday night game.
There's 25 pitchy woo-woos. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. It was pitchy woo-woo. It was a craze. I mean, it was Northwestern Ohio State. Yeah. It was San Francisco and in Arizona.
Mississippi State in the bowl game, and I was on the right side of the.
I was on the wrong side.
I ended up winning.
I remember that one.
That was the stupidest one, I think, of all the pitchy
in the bowl game.
In the bowl game, Illinois is all the way on the other side of the 50, and they throw it back across, and State picks up the fumble on one hop and goes.
Titans, Pittsburgh. There were a lot of the old pitchy woo-woos. They kind of calmed down a little bit, but there was a lot of them. Randy, did you any takeaways before we get to your picks in the NFL from a handicapping perspective?
Yeah, just a lot of people overreacting still. I think you still got to. There's still probably some teams you got to downgrade. You got to downgrade Baltimore, of course, with their defense and a little bit of injuries there. So I mean, they moved down maybe a couple notches from number 1 to 3 or 4 or wherever you want to put them there. But I believe they'll bounce back eventually. But maybe not so much this week. But they're still going to be one of the top teams that contend within the AFC. So just try not to overreact to what you're seeing.
Did you have them number 1 on your power rating going into it on Monday night?
Yeah, I still had them, slightly number 1. I mean, you can't really downgrade them for that loss against Buffalo. And them and Buffalo are pretty close, but they should have won that game. It was kind of fluke way to lose, and then of course, the things that have happened since. I didn't think they would. And they didn't play that great a game against Cleveland until the game got out of hand in the third quarter. I think I called that game pretty correctly, even though I lost that one. So, I still had them the 1 going into that game, but now you gotta drop them some points because of that defense.
Who's the worst team in the NFL right now on your list?
No, there's plenty of candidates for that one. Of course, you guys are living on one there in New Orleans, but I still have this Tennessee team, pretty low as well, and bad. At least you guys got a decent management and coaching staff, potential coaching staff. We don't know yet with Kellen Moore if he's going to be a good coach or not. And then you got to, of course, throw the Giants in there. Now we'll see what happens here. They're starting darts. So you got 3 candidates in there, and, I think the Raiders are going to be better than what they've shown so far, but their offensive line is pretty trash. So that's going to be a tough uphill battle for them as well.
We'll see what Dart does. Now they make the move, and look, I guess they have to. But And look, there's a reason everybody's giving up on Wilson. There's a reason Sean Payton paid $1 gazillion to get rid of Russell Wilson. Okay, so, but it did not affect the line this week against the Chargers at all. It has not affected their futures at all, their in-season win total. So maybe if he plays better, their power rating will adjust. But at least going in, expectations are tempered, to say the least. Who you got this week, Randy?
I got 3 bets, so I'm kind of playing around the number 3 this week in NFL. So the 2 straight bets that I got here were Pittsburgh +3, and we can talk about that game first, or you can tease them up to 8.5 with the team I'm going to talk about second. And this is a battle of 2-1 teams here. They go over to England and play. It's a home game for Pittsburgh, even though it's in England, but low total. You can see a low scoring, like slobber knock type game here. You never know what kind of weather you get in this situation. This Pitt defense has struggled, and
they look bad.
Relied on some turnovers here as well. But this Viking offensive line is still banged up. They get Addison back, so I can see this as a low-scoring game with a field goal in the end. It could go either way, so any kind of points here. Of course, I had +3 straight bet that is not offered anymore on the board, so can't really give that out on air, but if you can tease it to my second play here, that'll work out for you as well.
Who's the second? Go ahead, Charlie.
No, I had to chuckle when he said about the weather because the game is being played at Croke Park, which we have been to. And, Randy, if you've ever seen Jimmy miserable in his life, you've never seen him as miserable as he was on the catwalk high above the field at Croke Park in Dublin, Ireland, where it was probably 30-something degrees with the wind blowing and rain.
This windy, misty, like a light drizzle or whatever. I mean, it's picture perfect to catch a flu, okay? And, I mean, we're on vacation, man. And, I mean, they put us in the basement and they give us these jackets that were about 150 pounds they put on them, okay? And we're up there on the catwalk and it's whipping and like, oh, this is where the war. All right, I've seen it. I am screaming at the tour guide, get enough of this. Let's get down.
The wind was so hard that they gave us safety harnesses to clamp onto the wire on the catwalk. That's how hard the wind was blowing.
That was the first event we did. I mean,
it got better from there.
Oh, it was a lot better. It was a lot better, but it was off to a rough start. All right, who you teasing Pittsburgh with?
That sounds like British Open golf conditions.
Yes.
We got to talk about that. But, maybe a lot. But, the second game to tease them with would be the Kansas City Chiefs at home. I got this +3 as also, but this is not available on the board again. But this looks like a pretty strong teaser, getting them up to 8.5 for Pittsburgh, pairing them 2 together. If it doesn't go back up to +3, you get a battle of 1 and 2 teams. Amazing, one of these teams is going to be 1 and 3. But,
okay. All right, Kansas City and Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, KC got this ugly win, versus the Giants. Baltimore had a tough Monday night loss. Baltimore's defense still banged up, especially on the defensive line. And KC could ball control and keep Jackson and Henry and company off the field and frustrate that offense. And I see a better potential for KC not turning the ball over, where Baltimore's been real turnover prone lately.
All right, your third pick.
Now we'll go to an ugly game here, Monday Night Football, the battle of 0-3 teams. It could be Capri Pants' Coach Capri Pants or McDaniel, his last stand if they don't win this game. But I believe they will. They showed some good effort. They got extra rest here coming in against the New York Jets team. They've dominated the New York Jets in this situation. The Jets don't play well in Miami. And like I said before, I'm real impressed with his defensive coordinator, Weaver, for Miami. He kind of contained Josh Allen and frustrated that Buffalo team a little bit on Thursday night to give his team a chance. If that kid doesn't rough that punter there, they have a good chance to win that game, which was unfortunate. I would like to see all those Buffalo people get out of Survivor, but, of course, that didn't happen. And the Jets here, uncertain at quarterback. And what I've seen, I'd rather have Fields in there instead of, even though Tyrod Taylor did throw a pick 6. he's more of a gamer, I think, than Fields. So hopefully we get Fields, and I think Miami get a nice win here.
All right, Miami, Kansas City, and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, Kansas City teaser in that one. All right, Big Dog, we appreciate it, man. Good luck to you this weekend, and any Survivor angles with this weekend. How many of the 10,000 eligible in the Circa Survivor are going to have the Buffalo Bills against the Saints?
We'll see what they have for availability. I'm sure some used them, last Thursday night, but the ones that probably might, look at other options this week and hold Buffalo for the week following against New England, that could be an option as well. So it'll be interesting to see. There'll probably be some on Houston this week, taking an 0-3 team at home.
All right, Randy. Follow Randy on Twitter at RR39. Thank you, Randy. Good luck to you this weekend.
All right, thanks, guys. Good luck, everybody out there.
United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of southern Louisiana for over 50 years. Running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Contact Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes to discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Brian Kelly on the SEC teleconference says that Caden Durham is questionable today, and they will see how he progresses throughout the week. Said he could go anywhere from out to probable by this time on Saturday. So we'll continue to monitor that, and a pair of reports from On3, including one from Chris Lowe that says Trinidad Chambliss will start for Ole Miss at quarterback, which does not come as a galloping shock to us because we think he's the better quarterback, and I know they're still talking about Simmons' injury, and I don't know what his status is, but even if he were healthy, I think Chambliss is the way to go.
Chambliss is, yeah, and our guys over at Ole Miss told us that was going to be the same as well. Kiffin not playing games, I guess, a little bit on his Monday press conference, but no, Chambliss clearly the better quarterback.
And for LSU, we'll talk with Scott Rabley after the top of the hour. If Durham is not able to go, you're going to see Jawan Johnson. You're going to, I would think, see Xavier Thomas take a heavier workload, and you may see the most that you have seen out of Harlem Berry. And Berry, not unlike a lot of freshman running backs. The parts of the offense that he has struggled with are not running the football. It is the pass blocking and, the other assignments that you have as a running back. And, when you're a superstar running back in high school, you're not asked to do those things very often. And he's certainly not the first to have to work through that. But I think you could see him, if Durham doesn't go, actually carry the football.
If you wonder why a young running back, because running the ball is instinctive. Any freshman can do it. It's just about pass protection. That's for all coaches. And I'm just worried about if he's in the game, you really, kind of tipping off, what you're running.
Yeah, that's what Alabama did with Sean Alexander in 97.
Oh, he's a little different build. My man told me I wanted to play. I stayed up all night playing Xbox.
Yeah, he ain't blocked nobody yet.
Yeah.
Here live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabalais from The Advocate.
And return here at Roca Pizzeria. Stop in for happy hour Tuesday through Friday from 2 until 6 p.m. Half off all house cocktails and draft beer and all glasses of wine here on Government Street in Mid-City. Let's bring in Scott Rabalais. Rab, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm getting over a cold, like a lot of people in around here, I suspect. But I'm probable for Saturday, so that's good.
Yeah, we're keeping Max at arm's length. He went to a wedding this weekend and got sick, so we understand what you're dealing with. Since you brought up the probable, we'll start there. Caden Durham is questionable. And Brian Kelly said, well, by this time Saturday, it could be probable, it could be out. So very much up in the air. So let's talk about what happens if he can't go. Let's play worst case scenario here first. What that does to the LSU run game.
Yeah, I mean it's a problem. They don't have a lot of depth, as everybody knows, but obviously Jawan Johnson has been looking very good. Caleb Jackson and Harlan Berry have had flashes, and then they've been using some of the wide receivers in running situations. So it's not the end of the world, and it's not like LSU's running game was looking like the '95 Nebraska Cornhuskers either.
Yeah.
Even with him. So and obviously, I think LSU wanted to put something on film for Ole Miss's defense, showing Garrett Nussmeier taking off and running for a career-long 26-yard run against the Lions. So all would not be lost, but it obviously doesn't help. You want all your players to come back. And look, Trey Green's coming back, and Durham might not be back. It's there's that give and take that you get throughout the season. But it's I think they'll be okay without Durham. I think they have some options, but it's obviously you want the running game working on as full on all cylinders as you can, because you want to control the clock and keep the ball away from the Rebels.
I think back to when Skylar Green was here and the famous Nick Saban teach him one play. If I was them this week, it would be get Harlan Berry comfortable with one concept that doesn't involve him running the football. It doesn't have to be in pass protection. It can be a route. It can be something where he is not the primary pass blocker, on something where he's maybe asked to chip or something. It's one thing, one simple thing that he's comfortable with that doesn't involve him running the football, because Jimmy makes a point. If all you do when you put him in the ball game is he runs the ball, you become predictable. So give me one.
Pass the ball.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, run the ball. Run the ball. I'm sorry, you're right.
So give me something that he does. Give me one concept that he's good at, that he can work on this week, that he's comfortable going in the game. And then I think, Xavier Thomas has been a part of what we've been calling the non-traditional run game. I think you might see a little bit of him too. So you're right. They're not exactly marching up and down the field running the football, but they can do some.
Ole Miss hasn't even exactly been stopping the run.
They don't stop their run at all.
But I'm already suffering running game. You lose your best back. Yeah.
No, it doesn't help. So hopefully he'll be able to go. We had some questions about Caleb Jackson. He got in a little bit against Southeastern. Any thoughts there?
Well, I mean, he's you want to see the light go on again. He hasn't looked like he has his freshman year. He kind of looked like second coming of Leonard Fournette his freshman year. And you just haven't quite seen much of that. 2 carries for 6 yards. I mean, he needs to be in the rotation, but I'm not counting. If I'm LSU, I'm not counting on big things from him Saturday. I like what Joe's saying about Harlan Berry. I think Berry and Brown also had a carry, by the way, along with Xavier Thomas. So that was interesting, kind of an end around. But I don't know. Obviously I think he's a talent. And he's shown some things in the past, but I haven't seen anything from him in a long time that makes me go, oh, he could be an answer for LSU in trying to get this running game more productive.
So this is weakness versus weakness and strength versus strength. Ole Miss has not been able to stop the run. LSU has not been able to run the football. And on the other side, LSU's been fantastic on defense, and Ole Miss's offense is percolating. We now are getting multiple reports that Trinidad Chambliss is going to start this game. You've seen him play, Scott. Your thoughts about what Chambliss, the challenges that he brings for LSU's defense?
Well, I was like a lot of people. I thought the Tulane game would be a very competitive one this past weekend, and they just smoked them. It's Ole Miss. It's a as everyone says, it's a quarterback friendly offense that Lane Kiffin runs. Obviously, he's very good at that. And I think you could put Jimmy out there, and he probably throw for a couple hundred yards in their offense. So yeah, he's obviously a good talent. And makes I guess I don't know what it was, experience or maybe he didn't pick up the offense in their preseason camp or spring. Who knows? Why he wasn't the winner over to be the starting quarterback to begin with. But he's been good, and I think like a lot of people, he presents more of a problem for LSU if he's starting at quarterback than if he wasn't. So but it's what you expect. I mean, you're not going to Ole Miss. I don't expect 55-49. Obviously, no one does this year. But as I heard Greg Bowser on yesterday, it's like if LSU can hold them to the low 20s, I think they win the game. But they got to hold them, and that's the challenge, and it's the greater challenge I think with Chambliss at quarterback.
Don't you think, guys, that what happened here? They never intended to recruit Trinidad Chambliss. They kind of found him almost by accident, and they had in their head Austin Simmons came in for that drive against Georgia last year. He looked great. That he was going to be the guy, and this was a guy who was just coming in as an insurance policy. And even if they saw it in practice a little bit, they would have been reluctant to make that move before the season started with a relative. You get something in your head like, no, this is our guy.
Yeah, well, he was doing it at Ferris State, and Simmons did it against Georgia.
Right.
I mean,
right. So you got to.
And he's a year in your system, so he had a jump.
Yeah,
this kid is beating him out. Like I said, people want to say you can't lose your job to an injury. Well, what about the replacement? If he outplays you, you can win a job with performance, and that's what happened here.
Yeah, it reminds me of a story Jerry Stovall used to tell when they went to their first practice in 1982. And the running backs coach came up to him after practice and says, Coach, we got a problem. He said, what's the problem? He goes, our sixth-string running back is the best one out there. A kid named Dalton Hilliard. he wasn't sixth-string. He was sixth-string the first practice. He wasn't sixth-string long.
I couldn't believe driving up to that Oregon State game, that season opener. Wait, Gary James? They got somebody? The same recruiting class is better than Gary James? Okay.
And when I went to Lafayette, Oklahoma State started the season there. I went to see Thurman Thomas, and we saw Barry Sanders run out there and steal the show. It was like his very first game, and it was just like, wow, getting to see him in person. I'll say one more thing, though. Trinidad Chambliss, I don't think has seen a defensive scheme, to stop him like he will see in this game from Blake Baker. The disguising, blitzes and. Showing that they're crowding the line and they're dropping off, or coming with a corner blitz from an unusual angle and stuff like that. So I think he's a talent, and obviously he's a problem for LSU to deal with. But he didn't play. He played a little bit against Georgia State. He didn't play against Kentucky. They won that game 30-23 on the road. Arkansas and Tulane, weren't the matchup this is going to be for him. So I think LSU can contain him to a reasonable, not shut him down, but contain him to a reasonable degree. There's going to be some plays, there's going to be some runs and some passes, but I don't think he's seen anything like what they're going to throw at him.
It's the best defense he's seen before. I think he did sneak into that. I think Simmons got hurt late in that Kentucky game, and he got in. He didn't have any passes. I think you're right. No. It was just at the very end.
For what it's worth, and then I think that Chambliss has played the tougher opponents. Although Tulane and Arkansas, the strength of their teams is not defense, but passing efficiency. For what stats are right, Chambliss number 9 in the country. Simmons is 39.
Yeah, and the number four interceptions for Simmons in 5 quarters, and none for Chambliss. All right, Scott. Brian Kelly also had a chance to make his first comments since the schedules came out. Seemed like he was pretty pleased.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we learned on Monday who the permanent opponents would be. I think LSU got a pretty good shake there. I mean, I understand people are unhappy if it's not Alabama every year or Florida, but that wasn't going to happen. Alabama was not going to get Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU every year, and they stuck with geography. I think they said on the SEC Network last night that every team's permanent opponent is within 281 miles of the other campuses. So that's pretty good. So they certainly stuck with geography for LSU. It can't be that close, but they're pretty close. They came within the pretty good proximity, and obviously LSU got a lot of old SEC West rivals with the Aggies and the Rebels and the Razorbacks. So I think they did pretty well. And then, obviously, the schedules look formidable every year. I mean, LSU, you knew with Clemson coming here next year, they're going to have 3 non-conference home games. They got McNeese. They got to schedule another one. And so they're going to get the only 4 SEC games. So they got to go to Auburn, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Ole Miss, going to Ole Miss for a second straight year. And with Texas at home. Texas at home, guys. Can you believe Texas is finally coming to Tiger Stadium? First time since 1953 the Longhorns will play in Tiger Stadium. And I think there'll be a little boo for Arch Manning. I think if he gets booed at home, I think he's probably going to get booed in Tiger Stadium.
I don't care about Arch Manning. I want that band sitting on the bridge. Okay? All the tuba players hike it right up to the top of the peak of the bridge. That's where they get to sit after what they pulled back in 19.
Well, they were supposed to come in 2020. All the SEC schools played a conference-only schedule. So good on the SEC. I thought they would do that this year in 24, but good on the SEC to have Texas come here as first part of this new schedule.
Yeah, look, because those things can get away from you. They're still trying to make up the Katrina game with Arizona State. I mean, they've been pushing that down for 20-some-odd years now, and I think they're going to have to push it again. So, yeah, I'm glad that they did that. Rab, we always appreciate the time. Have a safe trip up to Oxford, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
It was a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
And we're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store. Highway 70 in Pierre Part and 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau. Look, LSU's on the road this week, but a nice slate of home games in October. If you're getting your tailgating supplies, make sure you get them at the Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store. Also online, thethibodeaustore.com. You can arrange some of these items for delivery. There's same-day pickup on a lot of them, and not just your grills and griddles, but all of your and your crawfish pots, your jambalaya pots. I know you can't cook crawfish right now, but
pots, burners,
you got
trailers, everything's made to be portable at all different sizes, all different price points. So outdoor cooking, tailgate cooking, your backyard with your outdoor kitchen. I mean, you're doing outdoor cooking, it is a must stop. They've got everything imaginable and then a lot more over at the Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store.
Wes Reynolds when we come back live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Roca Pizzeria, not just for lunch, baby. I mean, not just for pizza. We got a lot of great things over. Well, you see the garlic knots on a lot of people's very popular appetizer over here at Roca. Specials for the month of September, too. We're doing the butter garlic mussels with a side of homemade focaccia bread. The duck confit pizza. That's right, the duck confit pizza. Mozzarella confit duck, jalapeno cow. This is a special job.
Come on.
Caramel Lizotti. Caramel and then Lizotti. So put it all together. You want to try it?
Nope. Double L, double Z.
Red onions, apricot brandy glaze, and the creme brulee, vanilla bean custard with the amarena cherries. Also,
you're doing just fine.
Thank you.
Caramel Lizotti. If you say caramel, it's a little easier, I think. But it depends how you say it.
Okay. Well, there we go. Very good. Thank you, Max. Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. 8x8 for 8x10 size boxes for limited space situations. The 8x20, sort of a medium range boxes, give you more storage space without taking up unnecessary space. And then the large jobs requiring a lot of things. The largest option we have is 8x40. Not like a lot of places that just have one standard size. We got multiple sizes to fit your need. The units can be customized for any use. Lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers and welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting, whatever you need, whatever you desire. Give my buddy Martine Padiel and Workbox a call, 343-4886 and WorkboxLLC.com. We're getting Wes Reynolds on right now. Well, they're going to talk to him because they out-Bielema the Bielema, and we'll talk to him. Was that had to be the worst? So I did a little research. Before the Illini was outrushed 312-2. It was as Wes brings us on right now. So 312-2, a Bielema team was outrushed. The previous worst. 2017, Alabama had 308 yards rushing to Arkansas's 27.
Alabama had a better roster that year.
Yes.
I remember it.
Yes, a little bit. Wes, I mean, another step up in, as far as the level. They were not the cute story. Kind of got pushed around a little bit up front in the two games they lost last year. Oh, I don't know if they're going to get pushed around if they get to the playoffs again this year on what I saw on Saturday.
Yes, should be the pushers instead of the pushies up front. And that was what was most stunning, because everything was made about the Illinois offensive line and how physical they were. They got their butts kicked by the Indiana defensive line. I have not seen an Indiana defensive line in a long time own the line of scrimmage like opponent on their level. So just a great game all around. Can you hear the drums, Fernando, as ABBA would sing, as now Fernando Mendoza is the Heisman favorite in some markets. A lot of that with the Mateer injury at Oklahoma, but very impressive performance. And, we all asked over the summer, who's this year's Indiana? Maybe it's Indiana again, but 31 this week in Iowa City.
There was something in the air that night. The stars were bright. Fernando. Yes, I can hear you singing. Hell with the Christmas carols this year with humans, okay? We're going to be singing Fernando, huh? How about him?
We're doing Mamma Mia. We're doing a reenactment of the ABBA musical here.
Charlie, Dancing Queen.
I know Dancing Queen.
You know Wes Reynolds knows those lyrics. You know that.
My first job in this business was to DJ at a top 40 station. I know ABBA. Believe me.
Jimmy, stick to talk radio.
Thank you. All right. There were, I don't know, Fernando, baby. So I actually sang it on cue, Max. But anyway, hey, so Wes. You've had a couple of days to digest it, sleep on it. I mean, what you think? I mean, real player. I mean, Fernando seems to be an upgrade from Rourke, although Rourke was playing with a little injuries last year. But what I saw up front to a Bielema a seasoned roster, it was stunning.
It was, and there was even a part of me that was like, maybe they ought to get Luke Altmaier out of the game for Illinois because he's getting the hell beat out of him. But then I remembered back in 2010, Jimmy, when Brett Bielema was at Wisconsin and he hung 83 on Indiana. It was 83-20, so I was like, you know what? Run it everywhere. Run it all over this guy. Indiana's got some confidence right now going to Iowa City. I would not lay the 7.5, though. I made it 6.5 because I worry about the Iowa special teams. Doesn't Iowa always seem to score on like a blocked punt or a punt return? And you look in the stats and you're outplaying these guys. It happened last week at Rutgers. They returned the opening kickoff. Even though Rutgers was able to throw all over them in the first half, they made the adjustment. So Iowa is so tricky because their special teams is so darn good. So I think it's a little risky to lay over a touchdown with the Hoosiers, even though I have a lot of confidence in how these guys are playing right now.
This is a dangerous spot historically for Indiana this week, okay? I mean, when is the last time they beat a top 10 team by 53?
I don't think ever.
Bobby Knight? No, my point.
Probably
okay.
Indiana against.
When did they beat a top 10 team by 53 at night on network television at prime time? This is the biggest hangover spot, letdown spot. I know the fighting Signetti. I know what he's preaching, but did they play with a little emotion on Saturday night, Wes?
Probably did, because they were being discounted because of the easy schedule and all that, because they have one good season. It's like, hey, you got to go play like Alabama and Oklahoma on the road. It's like, go down here. We're trying to build a program.
Well, but the schedule was light last year. I mean, okay. I mean, we got to be fair, all right? And so, but you can't use up that much emotion and not have a little less. This is a tough spot against a guy that wins 9 games every year. That's been around forever. He's the most winningest coach. He's passing up Woody Hayes, I think. I mean, and we know Iowa's going to do it with defensive special team. This is a tricky spot this week.
And they just don't get blown out at home. I'm looking over the last 4 years. I think they've lost one game at home by more than a touchdown, and that was to Michigan 3 years ago. They will muddy up the game. They will dirty up, and you'll look down, and the score is going to be 13-10, and you just get out of there. Hardly anybody ever goes in there and blows them out.
We'll see if there's something in the air at night, well, in the afternoon in Iowa City. So we'll see about that. Peacock. Oh, man, you go from NBC to the Peacock. Come on, Wes. We need y'all on the
Trying to get the ratings up.
real channel. Why don't we have to go scrambling for Peacock?
I know, man. They're disrespecting us. They're going to move us to Bravo next. What's going on here? But at least that's in the NBC family of networks. I tell you what, I wanted that Purdue Notre Dame game off the air, man. I was like, move that to the USA Network or CNBC or something, and let's get the Hoosiers on.
Give us your picks in college football before we ask your opinion on the Ryder Cup this weekend.
Yeah, Penn State on the money line. I think this is what we've been waiting for, right? Big game James to finally win a big game in the Big Ten against an opponent on their level. I think they do it this week. I laid money line against Oregon. I think Penn State has been very vanilla in the first 3 games against a very easy schedule. And, they got some wrinkles, I think, for the Ducks at the wideout on Saturday night. So took Penn State there. Also took UW, a Big Ten home underdog. So we talked about one there with Iowa. I took Washington against Ohio State. Tricky travel for the Buckeyes. Julian Sayin, freshman, new quarterback, making his first start. Washington can run the ball a little bit. And even though Ohio State did beat Texas, and that defense, especially the pass defense, is really good, Texas was able to run the ball on them. And I think with Coleman and the quarterback Williams, Washington can run the ball on these guys a little bit. So did take plus 8.5 there. And also bought it to 7, but I took the fired coach angle. I took UCLA against the Purple Cats this week. Northwestern should not be laying a touchdown with as much as Preston Stone turns the ball over. So I think maybe you get an effort for Tim Skipper with the Bruins. I don't know if they quit necessarily in this spot.
All right. So speaking of Washington and Ohio State, we talked about it. Number 3 and number 4 passing efficiency ratings for Williams and Sagan. 2 sophomore quarterbacks. It will be the young quarterback making his first true road start for the Ohio State Buckeyes. An angle that we look to. Max, you joined in as well. Fire. Your thoughts on this Ryder Cup, Wes? Some people cover it saying this is the biggest event in the history of the sport. Just weigh in on the Ryder Cup this Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I think the Americans are the rightful favorite just because the course setup, I think, is better for them. A little bit more wide open in the fairways, the rough not as thick. The Europeans like to get that thick rough to mitigate that power advantage that Team USA has. But Team Europe has the continuity. They have 11 of the 12 guys that won in Rome 2 years ago back. Luke Donald has his foursomes, I think, all set. You're going to see Rory out there with Tommy Fleetwood. You're going to see Rahm with Patton. You're going to see Oberg and Victor Hovland together. So Team USA, Keegan Bradley has done all the right things, but he's got to make the right moves and get the right pairings. And this is now time for Scotty Scheffler. This is a different kind of pressure than a major championship. He's now the leader of the team. He is now the number 1 guy, not only on that team, but in the world. He's got to get max points. Like, he's got to do what Rory did in Rome 2 years for Team Europe. So I actually bet Europe to lift the trophy at plus 135, which means if it ties, Europe also retains the trophy. But it would not shock me if the Americans win. They won the last 2 times on home soil. And we shall see over the weekend. I think it's going to be highly competitive and highly raucous up there in New York.
One thing here, Jimmy, the home team has won in 8 of the last 9. This is one of the biggest home field advantages in sports. But the other thing is, since 2012, the Miracle Medina, the one road win that where Europe took down the U.S., we haven't really had any close Ryder Cup matches. So, Wes, what's the deal with that? Why have we not seen close Ryder Cup matches, and can we predict something a lot closer this time around, where at least Sunday in the singles we have something to watch?
Yeah, I think it is going to be closer this time around, Max. And I know we've had lopsided because the Europeans have killed USA basically in the foursomes. What was it, a 4-0 sweep in the first session last time out, and you knew the thing was over. And the thing was really over when Luke Donald spoke Italian for the opening ceremony, which is going to be held later today. So you kind of knew, okay, these guys are going to play, and they certainly did. So I think that this is more competitive just because I think the U.S. rookies are more veteran now. J.J. Spawn, Russell Henley, these are guys that have been through it. These guys are not, young guys that maybe aren't ready for this experience. So I think you're going to have it come down to the wire. I certainly hope so. That'll certainly make it a more intriguing watch.
How can we bet this? Throw the U.S. into a money line parlay, a leg into a parlay or something like this?
He likes Europe, sounds like.
Okay.
You could, and then there's different bets to make. One I made was Patrick Cantlay to have the most points for a U.S. captain's pick, or it might be dubbed as a wild card pick. Patrick Cantlay has the best record, by the way, on the American team in this international competitions, Ryder and President's Cup combined, and he was the guy that was kind of the villain last year for Team U.S., right, with the whole not
played well in Rome, huh?
Yeah, all that stuff. Win in Rome, absolutely. So he's probably out to prove something a little bit, and he played very well down the stretch this year. So I think Patrick Cantlay has a big showing for the American team.
The one area I differ a little bit in what you said earlier is that you said that Europe has dominated foursomes, and you would think traditionally an alternate shot, a format that the Europeans are more used to playing, that would be true. But it's really been the home teams that have dominated foursomes. In the last 3 U.S. home Ryder Cups, they've won 6-2, 5-3, and 5-2-1 in those Ryder Cups. So they've actually dominated foursomes as well at home, and that's something that I'm looking at. You can single out foursomes in day 1, day 2, or maybe for the whole tournament. I'm looking at the U.S. to dominate alternate shot, which is what foursomes is. And my other question for you, Wes, who's the long shot? Who's the low-key guy? We saw Max Homa actually play all five matches last time around in Rome, and that was kind of a surprise, right? You would think Scotty Scheffler would be the one who would dominate and play the most, but he struggled a little bit. So who's the surprise you see on either team? I'm kind of looking at Ben Griffin myself, considering he's been paired with Bryson, but who do you see as the surprise longer shot to really play well this week?
On the European side, I would probably say Matt Fitzpatrick, and if you look at that record, it's not impressive. 1-7 all-time in Ryder Cup matches. He won Rory over there in Rome on Saturday, but he played really good golf all summer long, and got himself, because he was in doubt to make this team, and then pretty much eliminated all doubt with contending. Had a couple near misses for victories. So I think Matt Fitzpatrick is going to play a lot better for the Europeans. If I were to say maybe who's going to be the overall low scorer, you might want to go with Victor Hovland. I think he certainly could be a guy. As good as he is on approach, only Scotty Scheffler was better on the PGA Tour this year. For the Americans, maybe a surprise could be Justin Thomas, who played lousy, I think, really down the stretch. I mean, he's been horrible the last few months of the year, but he really gets up for the Ryder Cup, and he's probably kind of like maybe our less demonstrative Ian Poulter, a guy that rallies the team, that has that fighting spirit. Justin Thomas could be a guy that might be low USA point scorer if you want to bet that.
I got a feeling Mr. Bryson DeChambeau is going to be a crowd favorite with the rowdy crowd, the drunk crowd in Bethpage Black. And you know what, Wes? If I had to do the same again, I would, my friend Fernando. Enjoy it, Wes.
Man, I love it.
Enjoy it. Football school, baby. How you? Go ahead.
You bet, man. You bet. Go Hoosiers.
At Wes Reynolds 1 on X. Thank you, Wes. Good job. We'll take a time out before we do that. Our friends over at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace and Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. My buddy Lee Carney and Nick Richard, they personalize it. You can give them a call if you're interested in going check out some vehicles. Certified body shop, yes, indeed. concierge service when you get your car worked on. When I was in the market for a new vehicle, I contacted Lee, went down to LaPlace, checked things out. We special ordered a vehicle through the Chevrolet website. Mention my name, Jimmy, out for VIP pricing. I don't just talk about the Go Chevrolet vehicles. I drive one. That's right. My Chevrolet Tahoe came from Go Chevrolet in LaPlace.
Live at Roca. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by the Morris Insurance Group. If you've got those hard-to-insure items, the Morris Insurance Group urges you to look again. Those duck camps, those fishing camps, some of those areas that are on the coast where you need flood insurance, your boats, your trailers, your RVs, your tractors, motorcycles. Welcome to the Morris Insurance Group, and let them get you a quote. You can go to morris-ig.com, or you can call at 225-201-0007, 201-0007. Ask for my man Buzzy Heidel. They also do auto, home insurance, and commercial insurance, and for all your tough-to-insure items. It's the Morris Insurance Group. Again, go to morris-ig.com. Start off with our college football notes with the big news was out of Norman yesterday. John Mateer with surgery on his hand, going to miss about a month. This was about to get hairy for Oklahoma anyway. They got Kent State this weekend, but then 6 of their last 7 opponents are against teams that are currently in the top 20. So the schedule is about to get thick anyway, but they'll be without Mateer for a minute, Jimmy.
Yeah, Mateer was the favorite. He and Mendoza kind of teetering back and forth after Mendoza's big night last Saturday against Illinois. But now Mateer, they did put him down to like 20-1. He's now off the board down the street at the Queen completely. Yeah. As I guess they just kind of don't want to take any bets, not knowing if he's coming back. There's some people saying that he might be able to return against Texas in a Red River rivalry, but we'll see. Speaking of Fernando, he is the favorite, plus 700, 7-1 as far as the Heisman. This late, though, how open this Heisman is, there's never been the favorite has never been this long of a shot this deep in the season. So It is more wide open than usual, and it's completely wide. The Heisman trophies, they're decided in November, for the most part. So right. Mendoza 7-1. Dante Moore's got a chance. Big stage in Happy Valley on Saturday night for Oregon. 8.5-1. Carson Beck 12-1. Gunnar Stockton at 13-1 for Georgia.
And if unless he's improved since the last time we saw him, the drop off from Mateer to Michael Hawkins is drastic for Oklahoma. He was bad most of the time we saw him last year. I actually kind of felt for him in that Texas game because he just got beat up. I mean, he was just so over his skis. So, look, that was a year ago. Maybe he's better now, but he
plays against this Texas defense. I'll put the over-under at 75 passing yards.
They scored 3 points last year against Texas with him quarterbacking, and I don't even remember how they got to 3, but he was in over his head. So maybe he's improved, but that's a big drop off to the backup.
All right, here's some other notes, Charlie. We had Duke against NC State, and again in the second quarter, a 3rd and 11 near midfield with Darius Mensah with his $7 million over 2 years. They hand the ball off. So got some boos from the people, but Duke did benefit from 7 turnovers / failed fourth downs by NC State. 4 turnovers and 3 failed fourth downs, a +7 for Duke. They were fortunate in that one.
Duke is a road favorite this week at Syracuse, so you got a couple things in play here. Syracuse coming off the huge emotional win against Clemson. Might be a fade spot on a normal situation, but they also lost their starting quarterback, Steve Angeli. So this will be the first start for Ricky Collins up at Syracuse. The Dukies are a 5.5-point choice there at an 11 o'clock game at the Dome.
Texas, we saw them play against UTEP. Arch Manning was booed, and that one, ULM played UTEP this past Saturday. The Warhawks from Monroe gained more yards, 60 more yards against UTEP than Texas did.
These are legitimate yards. These are not end of the game.
Tight game.
Okay.
Tight game.
Yeah.
Tight game.
What would the Warhawks be with Ahmad Hardy still?
Well,
he was a hell of a player for them last year.
He was. I think he something like 1,300 yards for
Just
them
missed out on a
last
bowl game,
year,
yeah.
and leading rusher in the SEC.
Florida at Miami, and one of the things, if you're looking for Billy Napier, if the axe would fall on him in Florida, the axe has fallen on three different coaches right now. The common theme is that, Oklahoma State lost at home to Tulsa on Friday night. It was, Charlie, the other two, it was
UCLA.
UCLA lost at home to New Mexico on a Friday night. And then Virginia Tech lost at home to Old Dominion. What's Sunbelt Billy's next home game? That may be Texas.
Texas is next. Yeah, after the bye, they get a bye this week.
Speaking of the Gators, they not too good on third down. Third down is kind of a spot how you judge your quarterback as well. They were 0 for 13 Saturday night against Miami on third down. Not good.
And the hits just keep on coming for Florida. They will be without starting cornerback Dijon Johnson for the rest of the season. He had knee surgery yesterday.
Yeah, Fernando was 21 of 23 for 267, 5 TDs and no interceptions. That was after a 19 for 20 game against, it was like Indiana State, I believe. His last two games, 40 for 43, 12 yards an attempt, 10 TDs, no interceptions. Fernando.
Be the most unlikely Heisman winner since.
Oh, God.
Ever.
RG3, Baylor.
Yeah,
Think about that going into the year.
Yeah.
Baylor's going to produce a Heisman Trophy winner. Louisiana Tech beat Southern Miss 30-20 in Ruston. They out first down to 29-14. Washington and Wazoo. 59 points for the Huskies, Charlie, on 52 snaps. How often do you score more points than have more snaps in a game?
Not very often. And you brought up Louisiana Tech there for a minute. They're going to be favored in every game the rest of the way. Looked at that yesterday. They will be. I'm not telling you they're going to go 11-1 with the loss to LSU, but they're going to be favored in every game the rest of the way.
We talked about that. Cumbie had his best roster since he's been there, especially on defense. The Bulldogs are 4-0 against the spread this year. A couple of teams who lost on the road, South Carolina at Missouri, and, of course, Auburn at Oklahoma. South Carolina had 14 penalties. Auburn had 13 penalties.
Throws.
Boise State and Air Force, 49-37. Air Force is supposed to defend the country. They ain't defending a whole lot right now. Hope they defend the country better than they did Boise. The two teams combined for over 1,100 yards in the 49-37 Boise win.
It's the first time I've heard about Boise State since the opening loss to South Florida. It's like they've disappeared off the national consciousness.
Air Force hosts Hawaii this week.
Hawaii. There we go. Where are they playing? Colorado Springs or on the island?
Yeah, Colorado Springs.
All right, Georgia Tech, how would they respond for their big win against Clemson? Well, they're winning and they're covering. The Eagles' block, scoop, and score kind of overshadowed all the bad beats. Temple scored with 1 second to go in the game to backdoor cover that one, 45-17, make the final 45-24. Talked about Michigan rushing for 9 yards a carry, basically, but 3 of the rushing touchdowns, 37, 75, and 54. The Michigan running back is second in the country in rushing this year. And C.J. Carr, they went 56-30, 10 for 12, but for 223 yards. Almost 19 yards an attempt for C.J. Carr. What leads the country? Maeva for USC at 12.5. An attempt leads the country. And Central Florida beat Carolina 34-9 down in Orlando. Carolina 217 total yards. And his girlfriend, Belichick, was so mad, cut her short on concession money at the game.
That is a funny little meme, wasn't it?
You get what you get, man. Balloons post press conference after? No balloons?
I didn't see any this week. No.
Not in the budget.
Not in the budget. We'll take a time out. Don't forget, tomorrow we're at Roca Pizzeria here on Government Street. Way more than just pizza. And don't forget, you can order from our catering menu, whether you tailgating, bring it to your tailgate tray, watch parties for away games like Saturday and Ole Miss, and then also just for office parties and any type of party you're having during the holiday season. Sandwich trays, house smoked wings, antipastas, entree trays, sides, desserts as well at Roca Pizzeria. Tomorrow be our first broadcast in one of our new homes here for Live at Lunch. Live at Lunch Thursday tomorrow from Las Palmas Mexican Grill on Airline Highway in the Prairieville, Gonzales area.
Live at Roca, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Roca Pizzeria on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Pro Football Hall of Fame nominees announced today. Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald are the slam dunks for their first year of eligibility. Yes. It'll be the first Saint inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame on his first year of eligibility. And Jari Evans is also a returning finalist this year. One name, this one's interesting to me. I can't make up my mind. First year on the ballot, Frank Gore. 16 years in the league, 16,000 yards. That's third all-time behind.
How many All-Pros?
It once. And it was a second-team All-Pro his second year in the league. He made 6 Pro Bowls. I don't know what to do with him. It's Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, and then Frank Gore is the third leading rusher in the history of the league, but I never thought he was the best player in the league, the best running back in the league.
And first team All-Pro one time. It's compiling. It's a compiling,
but the guy averaged 4.6 yards a carry as a 33-year-old and rushed for over 1,000 yards a couple of times in his 30s. I don't know. I don't think he gets in on his first ballot, but I think he eventually gets in. It's a tough call, I think, for him, but he's in. Of course, Eli Manning is back on the ballot this year, as is Phillip Rivers, who is another one that I think is going to get in, but probably not on the first ballot.
For a lot of yards, not completely different from we had way better regular seasons in Eli. Eli stepped it up in the postseason.
Yeah,
so.
Be interesting when that comes around.
He had a really good defense, too.
Super Bowl weekend, yes, he did.
Years.
Thanks to our friends here at Roca Pizzeria. Tomorrow we are at Las Palmas in Prairieville. For Max Gocho, for Jimmy Ott, and for Jordan Kinches back in the studio. I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.